How's it going? David from Comic Book Investments. So in this video, we're going to look at 5 keys that are heating up. Some of them going up by quite a bit. And yes, there are still comic books going up in value. It's kind of hard to believe when everything's going down. But I've seen a corner be turned. I don't know if it's, a short-term turn or is it going to be a long-term turn? It's hard to say. Anyways, also to let you guys know, we are having our 5th auction. We just finished a whole year of auctions. This one is our 5th quarterly auction, the first one of the year, and it is started today. So head over to collectorscomics.com and be a part of that auction. All right, let's jump into the first one. First one we got is SpiderMan #1. This is the gold UPC variant. So basically a newsstand. This was only available for sale in the Walmarts. A 9.2 is up 169%, and this is a crazy number. This is pretty rare of a comic book. How rare? I'll let you know. The last 9.2 to sell was back in 2019. One just recently sold for $800, but before that was 2019 for $297. A 9.6 is up 22% from $900 to $1,100, and a 9.8 is up 8% from $1,860 just a few months ago, now averaging $2,000. And if you look at that graph, it's pretty much this steadily going up. Where's the comic boom? It didn't get really affected. Just went up, never really kept going up. So yes, there's comics going up. Now this is increasingly rare. I was looking up. So there's 2 million copies made of Spider-Man #1 from 1990. Or was it 91? I think it's 1990. And super popular book. So we had the normal edition, then we had the polybag normal edition, then we had the silver edition, then we had the polybag silver edition. Then we had a gold edition, not this gold edition, a different gold edition, the direct gold edition. Now all those in a 9.8, roughly around $100. But then we have the special editions. We have basically the platinum edition, which was made of just 10,000, and they're given out to retailers. So this came out after the fact. After this book was already released, later they came out with the platinum edition, and it was given to retailers to say, hey, thank you for making Spider-Man 1 so successful. They made 10,000 copies. 7,000 of those 10,000 they gave out to the retailers, and the other 3,000 they gave to, who knows, they sold, or I don't know what they did with it, but they're out there in the ether. Next we have is basically, it's a reprinting, so it's kind of like a second printing, but this was only available in Walmart, and it had a UPC code. So these were pretty rare too. Now, they're not sure how many exist, but it's rarer than the Platinum Edition. I'll tell you that much. Some people speculate there's 10,000 as well, but I don't think there's that much, because when I look at the CGC census, there is roughly about 1,500 universal grades of the Platinum Edition, and there's only about like 500 or 600 of the gold. So that means that the gold is 1/3 more rare. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because the way the Platinum Edition was made, it was made very poorly. So it's actually harder to get a 9.8 of the Platinum. So the 9.8s in the Platinum are somewhere around like 60, 70 in a 9.8, and that's it. That's top grade. In this one, they have like 130 in a 9.8 for the gold UPC edition, and they also have a couple 9.9s and one 10.0, which is crazy to get a newsstand in a 10.0. But they do. They have them in this UPC gold edition. But then after that, it switches. So 9.6 and below, way more rare to find this gold than the platinum. There's way more. So there's just way more in general the platinum edition compared to the gold, but the way they're printed, it's hard to find a platinum edition in a 9.8. So nonetheless, this book has been going up, rightfully so. It is pretty rare. Think about that. There's only about, I think I said what, 500 or 600 total graded, total. That means 9.0s, 8.0s, and this is back in the 90s. A lot of people tried to keep them pristine, but it was before CGC, so a lot of them got damaged, things like that. So, and it was also a newsstand edition, so it got damaged at the Walmart when kids were reading it and flipping through it. Next, we got Action Comics 252, first appearance of Supergirl and Metallo. A 2.0 is up 45% from 923 to 1334. Wow. A 3.5 is up 19% from 1655 to 1969. And a 6.0 is up 23% from 4,000 just a few months ago, now selling for $48.95. And you can see there it's pretty much this went up, kind of went down sideways a little bit, started this going up again. This is not an all-time record, but it's getting close to there. yeah, this is first appearance of Supergirl and Metallo. Metallo is like a lesser known villain, but he still exists out there. I mean, this is a good book regardless. I mean, there's not really much to say about it. I think there's a Supergirl TV show. I know there was one, but I don't know if it's still on or it's just getting canceled, or I don't know. It's a CW show. And they're terrible. And it's not just me saying that. Like, they've never made any money at all. They whoever owned CW sold it for $0 because they had so much debt. None of those shows ever really made any money because they're just, which is crazy. They're that bad, yet they're very expensive. No one watched them. Like, the shows, like, obviously, like, Arrow and Flash had a bunch of people, but, like, when you get down to the ones I've never even heard of, Batgirl and Supergirl, they probably had 100,000, 300,000 people watching an episode, which is very sad considering a lot of YouTubers get more than that on their videos. All right, next we got Hero for Hire number 1. First appearance of Luke Cage. A 4.0 is up 17% from 171 to 200. A 5.5 is up 20% from 250 to 300. And a 6.5 is up 34% from 348 to 466. Now this one was, like a lot of these, was requested by someone. So once again, if you want me to check something out, just leave a comment below. And, you know, I'll try. I don't get to everyone, but I'll try to at least look it up. And if I think it'll fit either in a dropping video or heating up video, you know, I'll try to put it on there. So yeah, once again, someone asked to do this. So I said, sure, I'll look it up. And it is heating up. Now, is it heating up across the board? It's heating up in the lower levels, lower grades. But once you get to the higher grades, not so much. Although I believe it was like a 9.8, I think, recently sold for a record price. So yeah, there's that. But the thing is, I have to go off of like recent numbers. And I said this in previous videos, November and December, historically, minus the last 2 years, because we had the COVID bump, always bad. So if you have money during those times, that's when you should spend it. That's when you should pick up books, because they're always at their cheapest November and December. So now coming into January, things are turning the corner. So looking at like, there's not always every month an 8.5 sells of a Hero for Hire number 1. So looking at like December's numbers are pretty low. A couple higher end ones sold in January, and we're still down compared to previous highs. So it wasn't really much to show. But overall, I would say this is slowly trending up. Like the lower grades are trending up. The higher grades are but the top grades obviously trending up, but they barely ever sell. You get like one a year. So, all right, next we got Mad number 1. A 0.5 is up 68% from 413 back in 2021 to 695. A 3.5 is up 113% from 798 back in 2021 to 1700. And a 4.0, this sold for $3,000, up from $1,100 in 2021. That's up 172%. Crazy high numbers. Yeah, I mean, it's Mad number 1. It's a humor magazine by EC Comics. They pretty much got destroyed when the Comics Code Authority came out and basically picked on them, and all their magazines and comic books went gone, disappeared, minus Mad magazine, which, if I can remember correctly, I'm just going to pull this. It's a fake number. I want to say it lasted until the early 2000s. Mad magazine. I don't know. I don't know who they're owned by now. I think DC owns Mad magazine now. Not entirely sure. But anyways, this started it all, this humor magazine. And yeah, I mean, there's always a demand for it. Maybe that $3,000 number is a bit too high. But in the end, I don't think it'll matter. All right, last one on the list is Sergeant Fury number 13. 4.5 is up 21% from 200 to 241. A 5.0 is up 88% from 216 to 405. And a 6.0 is up 22% from 250 to 305. Just kind of all over the place, but slowly trending up. I think as more and more people realize that like certain Silver Age and Golden Age, they become more and more increasingly, when people realize how rare they are, they become more desired. Unlike modern books where there's just so many of them, There's not many of these out there, let alone in nice shape. So this is where Captain America helps out Sergeant Fury. I really don't know. I didn't read the story at all. I don't think I've ever read a Sergeant Fury comic book. I think I've read a few Sergeant Rocks. My personal opinion is Sergeant Rock seemed to have the better stories, basing off the cover alone and the ones that I read. But beyond that, I really don't know why Captain America's in this. I don't know. Maybe I'll look it up after this video to figure out why he's in it. But I think it has something to do with Captain America being old, and he was during World War II and helped out. So I think this is before he got frozen days. That's what I'm going to guess is what I'm thinking, because isn't Sergeant Rock mostly World War II stuff, and that's about when Captain America got frozen. I'm going off a tangent. I don't even know what I'm talking about. All right, that will be it. Check out my website, collectorscomics.com, for the auction. Have a great day.